All right, welcome back to the Hunt G4 channel. We are 19 days away from the opener here in Oregon for archery season. This video is going to be mostly focused on things I carry for a Western style hunt, meaning guys hunting the coast range. I'm only about, 30 minutes from where I hunt right here. And a lot of guys, especially with the fires over east this year, are going to be hunting on the coast range, and my pack loadout based on where I'm hunting will vary. So this is not the same setup I would run if I was doing a multi-day bivvy hunt over in like the Eagle Caps. But for day hunts, the run and gun style where you have a base camp and every day you're going out from there hunting the day and then coming back. These are kind of the essentials that I carry. So we're gonna start with clothing. Obviously, if you've hunted the coast range, you know it's pretty temperate. You're not getting real cold. You're not getting real hot. So I'm gonna start with what I wear for like pants and outerwear basically. I like just a lightweight pant. Honestly, it never gets cold enough to where I feel like I need any sort of insulation. These are the Stone Glaciers. We actually carry them here at the shop. What I like about these is they're stretchy. They're an extremely lightweight material. And then they have these heat dumps on the side. So it's kind of shocking how much heat your legs produce, especially since they're the body part that's doing most of the work when you're hiking. So being able to open up a vent like this is really, really handy. It dumps a lot of heat out. And then I like wearing pants. I know you could obviously wear shorts out there, but there's so much brush on the coast range that you just will scratch your legs to death if you don't have something covering them. So that's, any sort of pant. There's a lot of good companies that make them, but I like having a really lightweight pant that I can dump heat out of. In terms of like my upper body, pretty much any lightweight merino hoodie, or it can be a crew neck, whatever, but something that's lightweight. Again, this is a Stone Glacier. They're nice because they just kind of keep you temperate. Whether it's like when it's hot, you're not burning up. When it's cold, they help keep you warm. They wick moisture very, very quickly. So even if your back is all sweaty when you take off your pack, you sit there for 10 minutes and they dry out. On top of that, they don't stink. That's the beauty of merino. So any sort of lightweight top like that is great. I do usually pack a lightweight puffy as well, just for the mornings. If I'm sitting there glassing or something, you might get down into the high 40s on the coast range here, but you're never going to be in need of like a heavy down jacket or anything. The most underrated piece of gear I think ever are gaiters. I actually do run these Stone Glacier gaiters as well. We sell these here at the shop. What I like about the gaiters is that I don't want to wear rain pants on the coast because you're going to get wet one of two ways. Either you get wet from the water, or you're going to get wet because you sweat so much that your boots are going to get wet from all the sweat running down the inside of your rain pants. So I wear lightweight pants. I put gaiters over my boots and my lower leg in the morning, and that's going to keep. Even if it's not raining, there's almost always condensation and dew on all the brush. So when you're moving through that stuff, having a pair of gaiters keeps your pants from getting wet, which keeps your socks from getting wet, which keeps the inside of your boots from getting wet. Most of the time, people think their boots are leaking. It's actually not that. It's that their pants or their socks got wet and then wicked down into their boots. So I love wearing a pair of gaiters. If it's really hot and you don't have pants that you can dump the heat out of, like these Stone Glaciers here, you can actually rock shorts with gaiters, and then you protect your leg and still have a lot of airflow and mobility. When it comes to boots, everybody's got their preference on boots. I personally run, these are the Alverstone 2s from Hanwag. I have weird feet. These are the best fitting boots that I have found personally for me. I got long, narrow feet, long toes. Most boots flex in a point on the upper here where it just gives me hot spots. So I really like these boots. They're lightweight. They're like a 3 stiffness, which for me I like. Now I know there's no right or wrong in that. My theory is 99% of the time you're not packing a bunch of weight on the coast when I'm hunting over here, right? I've got a day pack on. I need to be mobile. There's, you're going up and over and through and around a lot of like uneven terrain. I like a little mobility and a boot that moves with me a little bit. So I like a little bit lower flex rating. I packed a bull out last year. It was 5.2 miles from the gate where we killed him. So it was a long day of packing, and these performed great. With that, I actually invested in sheep feet, which I'm not gonna lie, I thought it was kind of a crock when I first saw them. they are expensive, but basically they send you a mold. You put your foot in it. It creates like 1 million data points or something on the bed of your foot, and they mold each insole to that individual foot. I was shocked. It was one of those things I didn't really notice till I got back to camp. But I never thought about my feet all day. I didn't get any hot spots. I didn't get any like sore spots. Obviously my feet were tired after packing that bull out, but I didn't have any blisters or you know, particularly on the balls of my feet. I never got any weird hot spots. Moving on from boots, I'm a sock guy. I always carry multiple pairs of socks, at least 2. For me, I feel like maybe my feet sweat more than your average guy. I think a lot of hot spots come from drenched socks that are soaking, whether it's sweat or even just water, if your boots get wet. So I love at lunch sitting there, take my socks off, let my feet dry out, put a fresh pair on. There's just something about it. So, you know, an extra 3 ounces for comfort for me is a big deal. You know, I will happily carry 3 or 4 pairs of socks on a 2-day hunt. Definitely at least 2 on a 1-day hunt. Lots of good ones. My favorite are Darn Toughs, but Crispy makes good ones. Everybody's making a good merino sock now. Moving on from there, these are, you know, your optic pack. There's a lot of good bino harnesses on the market. This is an old Mystery Ranch one. I really like Marsupial Gear and Muley Freak. Cafaro makes a great one as well. When it comes to the optics themselves, you know, I just got a Vortex rangefinder. This is their Razor, but honestly, for archery hunting, you don't need 4,000 yard capability. Just make sure you get one with the angle compensation in it. I actually had a buddy last year hit a bull because he ranged it at 28 yards. It was straight downhill. He did not have angle compensation. He actually aimed high with his 30, thinking that, you know, it'd go down with the angle of the shot, it would hit both lungs, and he hit that void, and we never found that bull. So whatever brand you decide to use, make sure you get one with the angle compensation on it. In terms of optics, I have these Zeiss's. They've been great. They're a 10x40. On the coast range here, we're not looking 2 miles, you know, trying to find bulls. We're at the top of a cut or we're in the timber just trying to pick up movement. So I want something with a lot of light input, basically. So in that low light, even in the middle of the day, you get in some of these reprod patches, like it's really dark. So I want something with a lot of light gathering capability, really good clarity. Like with most things in this industry, I would say buy the best glass that you can afford, whatever number that is to you. These seem to work great. Honestly, sometimes I wish I just had an 8 when I'm in the timber, but 10s I think are great, a great all-around bino for, you know, glass and clear cuts, you know, trying to pick up like a bull or movement in timber or heavy brush, something like that. So like I said, there's no right or wrong answer with glass. It's going to be whatever works best for your scenario, but that's just personally what I run. So now we're gonna get to the pack. So this is the Stone Glacier. This is the 2800. What I like about this pack is that the frame on this is the exact same frame that's on all of their, you know, like their 5900 pack. So the bag size is the only thing that changes. What I like about this is when I'm out on the coast, I don't need 5900 cubic inches of space. I'm carrying some food, you know, some extra socks, you know, knife, headlamp, some game bags. So I want a small bag that isn't gonna make a lot of noise, and still have the ability to carry meat. So, you know, in this bag, I've got the load shelf here, so I can just unclip this thing. I can pull this all the way off, but basically my meat shelf is under here. So I can put a quarter, the head, whatever, on this, still carry all my stuff in the bag. This is what I packed my bull out with last year, and it worked great. So I like having that ability to pack something out if I shoot one. I don't have to go back to the truck to get a pack board. I have the frame that's capable of carrying as much weight as I want to carry on a pack that has a small bag and is nice and compact. So again, that's the Stone Glacier 2800. They make a bunch of different packs. It's pretty simple. You know, you got your front pocket here. I do like that, you know, it opens all the way down the side. So if I need something at the bottom of my pack, I don't have to pull everything out to get to it. I can just unzip this bad boy. Say that. There we go. And I can get in there, get anything I need out of there. In my pack, obviously you gotta have your water bladder. I drink a lot of water when I'm out there. I know some people don't. For me, it's a cramping thing. If I don't stay hydrated, I will cramp eventually. So I carry a 2-liter bladder and then a dip and drink. There's a lot of different ones of these on the market. This is a platypus as well, just like my bladder here. But basically it's a filter connected to the mouthpiece. You can fill this in any little creek. Usually if you're hunting the coast, you're gonna come across water at some point in the day. So even if I don't need it at the time, I will fill this up if I come across that, or fill it up in camp, that morning. It sucks running out of water. So what's nice about this is I can literally, anywhere I go, it's just like, oh, there's a little seep hole or a mud puddle, whatever. Like you can dip and it's gonna filter that water and you don't get sick. In my pack, like I said, this is gonna be more for like a day hunt sort of thing. So I didn't bring my bedroll and my sleeping bag and all that stuff because I'm pretty much going back to camp every day, sleeping on a cot or an air mattress. But these are pretty much things that whether I was doing a backpack hunt or a coast hunt are constants that are not going to leave my pack. So obviously you got to have your knives, right? I like the little scalpel sort of blades, any replaceable sort of blade. This is a Havalon. There's a bunch of different ones on the market now. Outdoor Edge makes a great one. It looks more like an actual knife. But these are great for, especially if you're caping something or just skinning, like they're easy. If you're boning something out, they're small, you can get in tight little spaces. I also carry like a full tang. So this is like a Benchmade, the Raghorn. This is gonna be something, when I'm like taking off a hind quarter or if I'm trying to get the head off, going between vertebrae or the legs, I just like a little beefier knife. I have had these break before, which not a big deal. They come with different blades. It's just, more time and one more step that you got to take to replace the blade. But I carry both. I know a lot of guys, you could do everything with just a full tang like this. But I do carry like 2 different knives, and you never know. Sometimes something falls out of your pack. I like to have 2 of important things. With the knife, a good little knife sharpener. This Outdoor Edge makes this one. It weighs nothing. You got your coarse carbide and then your fine ceramic sharpener on it. So got to have that. Headlamps. Carry 2 of them. You're always going to run out of batteries, or one's going to come in, turn on in your pack or something stupid. I like one that I can recharge, as well as one that I actually put batteries in. So I always carry extra batteries. The rechargeable ones are great, but if you're out there and it dies and you have no way to charge it, then I think batteries are lighter than one of those little portable charger packs. So 2 headlamps. You always have a buddy to forget ones as well. I'm usually that guy. So Allen wrenches. So with your bow, if you're archery hunting, there's Allen wrenches, as you probably well know, that's what everything is tight, or every bolt and screw on your bow is an Allen wrench. So carry a set of Allen wrenches. These are the Pine Ridges, they're the XLs. So I can do anything from limb bolts down to pin adjustment with this, or tighten up a rest, whatever you need to do. I'll usually carry some extra serving with me as well. Maybe some extra D-loop material. I've never really seen a D-loop break just from hiking around, but it's one of those things that, maybe somebody else in camp might need one if it's looking rough or something. I like to also carry my extra set of strings. So if you have a bow that has been restrung, you now have aftermarket strings, or maybe you have a bow now that you're thinking about restringing, ask to keep the old, like the factory strings off of it. Leave the loop on it, leave the peep sight, just leave them good to go. Every year we get guys that come in here and, they're putting a broadhead away in their quiver and they're not paying attention, and it slips behind the broadhead and it cuts one of their strings, or it frays one of their strings. During archery season, most archery shops, especially if you're over on the east side, they're either not open or they're definitely not going to have a string for your bow. So you may not be able to find a new set of strings, which is going to ruin your hunt, but every shop is going to have a press, and if you have a set of strings, they can get those strings on your bow and get you back out in the woods. It may not be perfect, but it's going to be better than not having a bow to hunt with. So I always carry my strings. If you have a backup bow, take your backup bow. When it comes to meat care, so we spend a lot of time and a lot of effort out trying to kill these animals. Most of the time when meat tastes bad, or they say it tastes gamey or whatever, it's because it was not cared for properly. So this is actually a really cool product. It's called Game Gripper, or Game Grip. Basically, it's a food safe adhesive strip. So even though you're careful when you're, skinning your animal, hide or hair gets on the meat. That hair, if left on the meat for a long period of time, can kind of taint the taste. Basically this, it's almost like a lint roller for your meat. You can take this thing off and just and get all that hair, dirt, pine needles, whatever, off your meat. They're like 20 bucks, and these will do at least 2 whole elk, but multiple animals in one pack. So I really like these things. Obviously your game bags, a lot of good ones on the market. I always carry them with me because, again, that's one of those things where it's like, if you have to hike all the way back to your truck to get your game bags, you're just adding miles that are unnecessary. What I don't have pictured here is my sheet of Tyvek. So if you're not familiar with what Tyvek is, it's like what they wrap a house in before they put the siding up. It weighs nothing, and you can fold it into a little square like this. But on the coast range here especially, like there's no like open, there's not like big boulders that are clean that I can like set my meat on. Even a log that's down is gonna have a bunch of moss and pine needles and everything on it. So the Tyvek is nice because you can lay that thing out. It's tough, so sticks aren't gonna poke through it. And I can lay my meat on that. It's very helpful if you hunt alone. It's really hard to get an elk quarter off of an elk and into a bag without it ever touching the ground if you're by yourself. So having that sheet of Tyvek, you can lay all your meat there. It's gonna start cooling off while you're processing your animals. And it's, like I said, that's not my tip. I learned that from Wayne. But it is very, very helpful. I do carry, so this is like the tiniest little stove of all time. It's not an expensive one. But carry this, a little thing of propane. If you're not just gonna take like trail mix or something like that, if you're gonna use like dehydrated food, like I love those Peaks Outdoors meals. This weighs, I mean, you can see how small this is. Just goes right in this little case here. It's kind of one of those things you gotta weigh your pros and cons. I think those meals have a lot more nutritional value for the weight and space ratio that they take up in your pack. Than trying to carry around enough trail mix and jerky to sustain you for the whole day. So I like to bring that little stove. This is Garmin InReach. They make a lot smaller ones now. This particular one is good for, it's a full-on GPS with the map and everything, but it's a safety thing for me. So hunting alone, especially out here on the coast, there's a lot of areas without cell service. So if you were to fall and hurt yourself, this has the SOS. You're gonna get search and rescue there in no time. On top of that, you can get monthly plans with it to where if I kill something and I don't have cell service, I can actually send somebody a text message via the InReach. That is very, very helpful. Depending on where you are, if you kill something by yourself, you're probably gonna want help. So this is more peace of mind than anything. Obviously with all the new technology with Onyx and Base Map and Go Hunt, all those like e-scouting and digital mapping programs. You don't really need the map part of this, but the SOS and the texting capability is awesome with this. Call-wise, I run pretty simple. I mean, obviously use whatever favorite reeds you like. I do like to have this little bite and blow. This is the love triangle from Born and Raised. What I like about this is not only does it sound good, but it just sounds different from everything else. I think these elk get so pressured hearing, everybody's blowing a Phelps or a Born and Raised or whatever. I really like this little call. It's just easy to use. Again, weighs nothing. Your favorite bugle tube. I usually carry multiple of the same reeds, or at least have them in camp, just because you always drop them, you always lose them. So bring like 3 or 4 of the reeds that you use. And yeah, that's basically it. I think when I put this pack on the scale with everything, all this stuff in it, I mean, I'm under 20 pounds for sure. Way under 20 pounds. So it's easy to carry around. It's lightweight. A first aid kit is obviously going to be a great thing to have. I did not bring that, but I would recommend carrying a first aid kit. And yeah, that's pretty much what I run on the coast here. I like to be mobile. I like to be fast and quiet, and all this stuff allows me to do that. So a lot of stuff you saw today, particularly all the Stone Glacier stuff, is available here at G4. Game grippers, game bags, Benchmade knives, last light, headlamps, all that stuff we have here. So if you have any questions, feel free to either comment on this video or call the shop. One of us will walk you through what the best options will be for you. And until next time, remember, hunt hard, hunt safe.